Welcome to Flyp Academy.
Welcome to Lesson 3 of Russia in early 1917. In this unit, the key questions are: what were the triggers for a revolt? What were the immediate reasons for the February Revolution? These are the key terms. Read through them carefully. Provenance, Okhrana, Petrograd, February Revolution. Task: pause the video and make your own keyword glossary. Add any key term definitions to the keyword glossary for each topic as you go along. Make sure you know what all the keywords mean. They are very important. Challenge: use the keywords in a sentence. Task: 2 minutes. Read through the two sources below. Both discuss the situation in 1917. In your exam, you will be asked to explain how these sources are useful to a historian into an inquiry. In 2 Peel paragraphs, explain how sources A and B could be useful to a historian for an inquiry into the situation in Russia in 1917. Think about both the content and the provenance of the sources. Things to discuss: first-hand account from both source A and source B. From your own knowledge, you know that there were areas where the army did mutiny and join the protesters rather than firing upon them. From your own knowledge, you know that food was rationed, difficult to get hold of, and bread was scarce. From your own knowledge, you know that violent protests did spring up across the cities. By the beginning of January 1917, the position in Russia was becoming chaotic. Defeats in the war, food shortages, and lack of social and political reform meant that support for the Tsar had been severely eroded. At the end of February, Nicholas abdicated, and a provisional government was set up to run Russia until elections could be held. Task: read the source from the Okhrana, the secret police in Russia, and answer the questions that follow. 1. Why are the workers on the verge of despair? 2. What depends on the military units? 3. Who has written this source? 4. How useful is this source to a historian as evidence for the causes of the February Revolution? When addressing the causes of the February Revolution, there is a symbol acronym which we can use. Toward. T. Tsar. O. Opposition. W. War. A. Army. R. Rasputin. D. Duman. Unpopular Tsarist autocracy. Russia was an autocracy. The Tsar ran the country with the help of a few ministers. The Tsar was supported by the army, the church, the nobles, the civil service, and the secret police, or Okhrana. Many Russians wanted a more democratic form of government. Growing political opposition. Political parties and other groups in Russia began to demand changes in the way the country was run. Support grew for the Social Democrats, Social Revolutionaries, and the Cadets. Economic collapse, war. The Russian economy collapsed during the First World War. Factories closed, transport was disrupted, and prices rose faster than wages. There were terrible food shortages. Strikes and demonstrations grew more common in 1917. Collapse of the army. The Russian army suffered badly in the First World War due to a lack of equipment, inadequate training, and poor leadership. The Tsar decided to take personal command of the army. As a result, he was blamed for the army's problems and defeats. The Tsar loses support of the army in February 1917. Rasputin's reputation. Rasputin was believed to have power over the royal family. People became suspicious of the Tsarina's friendship with Rasputin. These suspicions became more serious when the Tsar left Petrograd to take command of the army, leaving his German-born wife on her own. Duma, Parliament, wanted power. The Russian Parliament, or Duma, was weak. It didn't have any real power. By 1917, the Duma wanted to play a bigger part in governing Russia. Poverty and hardship. In Russia, there were big differences between rich and poor. Peasants in the countryside and workers in the towns suffered from low wages, long hours, and terrible living conditions. The poor wanted to improve their standard of living. Task: read through the information below on causes of the February Revolution. Once you have read the information, next to each letter of the acronym, write a short description of how this factor led to the immediate cause of the revolution. Task: speak like a historian. You have 30 seconds to explain the causes of the February Revolution. Set a timer on your phone. See if you can successfully explain the different causes without stopping to or